All right, y'all. So we're starting with some quad hip cars. I actually did 2 to warm up, but had to cut the time down a little bit so I could export this. So you only see 1. But if you want to do 2 warm up cars, we're going to be working on some hip internal rotation today. Starting in this quad position. So you'll see we'll be in 90-90, working on that back leg. Again, won't do too much talking here, but it was super duper nice outside, so decided to do this outside. So after your cars, I just have a block because we're going to be down here for a bit. You don't need one, but we're going to get that back leg as close to 90 degrees as we can get it. And we're just starting with a nice light stretch. Taking a few breaths here. Not going to go the full 2 minutes, but just find that stretch, relax. And whenever you're ready, let's start a light pales contraction. So we're driving nice and light, that knee and ankle straight down into the ground. Think like you're pulling that ground towards you a little bit. So you get a nice contraction through that inner thigh, glute area. And let's just breathe and hold that. At any time, feel free to loosen up your tension a little bit. If it gets too intense, this is low and long. And let's switch to our rails contraction. So now we're thinking light on the foot, heavy in the knee. It's like you're trying to rotate the foot up off the ground, but you shouldn't be able to since we're in our in range. Looking for that contraction on the outside of the hip. See here, I give myself a little bit of feedback. So if you are having trouble feeling it, just drive down on that back ankle a little bit with that hand and just keep that light rails contraction, trying to rotate that hip up. Just remember, less is always more on rails. Okay, so let's switch back to pales, driving that knee and ankle down once more. If you're feeling froggy, you can try to push a little bit harder on this one. Maybe 40 or 50% of your max effort. And again, just tone down that tension if it gets too intense. But we're just driving the knee and ankle nice and heavy, holding that contraction. Pales. Okay, one more set of rails here. So you see I'm leaning back a little bit more, pulling myself into a little bit more internal rotation. Try to scoop that foot up into that hand. Nice and light. Really searching just for that like twisting, crampy sensation on the outside of the hip. But don't do too much. So just breathe and hold that contraction. Okay, slowly relax. We're gonna go right to a kinetic stretch. So give yourself a big hug. Initiate that rails contraction and hold that tension as we slowly start to rotate that upper body towards the back foot. So I'm trying to scoop my foot up off the ground. Take your time here. You'll hit a stopping point, switch to pales contraction, knee and ankle heavy. Slowly pull your upper body back to the front. We got 2 more reps here. So you get right back to the front. Initiate that rails contraction. Try to scoop the foot and slowly rotate that upper body. You see I'm going very slow here, not rushing, feeling that tension. So it's rails and rotating toward the back foot. Trying to get a little bit further than I did my first time. Hit your stopping point, switch back to your pales contraction, knee and ankle heavy. into the ground, slowly rotating the upper body back to the front or your starting position. And then we got one more here. Switch back to your rails contraction. So try to scoop the foot up off the ground. Heavy knee, slowly trying to rotate that upper body. So you really exaggerate that tempo. I'm going super slow, feeling the hip, pulling myself into internal rotation. And then hit that stopping point, switch to pails, and slowly pull yourself back forward. Okay, so when you get done there, we got 3 eccentrics. So we get back to the starting position. Excuse me. We're going to hinge as much as you can forward. That feels good. Let's initiate that pails contraction, knee and ankle down into the ground. Hold that tension and slowly drive your upper body back up to the top. About 50% max effort pails. Once you get to the top, relax. Reset, hinge all the way back forward. Initiate that pails, knee and ankle super heavy into the ground. Hold that tension. Let's slowly start to pull yourself back up to the top. Nice and slow. You should feel that tissue working and changing as you're coming up to the top. Relax when you get to the end range. We got one more. Hinge all the way back forward. And let's initiate that pails contraction. Knee and ankle heavy. Hold that tension. Slowly pull yourself back up to the top. Nice and smooth. And relax. So we got 3 long liftoffs here. So we're going to get back into that hinge position until you're right out of your end range. So it should be super duper hard to lift. So we're going to get good tension. Scoop. You see my foot's barely coming off the ground. You should honestly still be able to touch the ground a little bit. So you should be working very hard to rotate that hip off the ground. Breathe and relax. Let's go. Next one, scoop. Oh, premature. Sorry. Next one. Good tension. Scoop. Lift. Barely try to get that foot up off the ground. You see, you can just barely see my foot shaking a little bit. So just breathe, keep fighting. The more upright you are, the harder this is going to be. So it should be at a point just like this where you're barely able to lift. Keep scooping, keep trying to lift right now. Just feel that hip working. Nothing in that low back. And relax. We got one more. So get good tension, brace up, scoop, and try to lift. You're really keeping that lower leg nice and soft. Working right next to your end range. So it should be extremely hard to rotate that hip off the ground. It should be nice and fired up right now. Keep fighting, keep that tension through the whole body, keep scooping, and relax. Okay, slowly come up out of there. We're just going to end with 2 hip cars here, back in that quad position. So now you guys will be able to see both. So just take your time, bringing that knee up, out, rotate all the way back. Make sure that core stays tight so nothing's bleeding to that low back. And then straight back, knee starts to flare out, all the way back, rotating to that starting position. See, I'm going nice and slow and smooth. It's the best way to hit that joint. We got one more here. So let's take your time, up, out. Hopefully you feel the difference from those first cars we did. Rotate all the way back. And again, this is just one side. If you want to match the other side, if you have 10 more minutes, I would just restart this, match it up, and you should be feeling pretty good. The hip should be feeling pretty good. So let's slowly come all the way back to that starting position. And that's a wrap.